Okay, so silver nitrate reacts with ferric chloride. So silver is Ag, nitrate is NO3. It reacts with ferric chloride to produce or to give silver chloride and ferric nitrate. Okay, so we have to balance this chemical equation now. So I'm going to make my element list. I start with silver. Then I ask, is nitrate on both sides? Yeah, nitrate's on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and write nitrate. And then I've got iron. And I've got chlorine. How many silvers do I have on the left side? How many? 1. How many nitrates do I have on the left side? 1. How many iron do I have on the left side? How many chlorine? 3. On the right side, how many silver? How many nitrates? 3. How many irons? 1. And how many chlorines? 1. Okay, so starting at the top, I've got 1 silver, 1 silver. Those are balanced right now. I've got 1 nitrate and 3 nitrates. So those are unbalanced, right? So I have to ask myself, what times 1 gives me 3? 3. So I'm going to put a 3 in front of the compound that has nitrate on the left side of the equation. And then I have to update my element inventory. I've got 3 silvers. I've got 3 nitrates. So now I look back at my element inventory, and I see that the silver's unbalanced. I've got 3 on the left and 1 on the right. So what times 1 gives me 3? 3. So I'm going to put a 3 in front of the thing with the silver on the right side. That changes that to 3. And it also changes how many chlorine I have. I now have 3 chlorine. I look at my element inventory, everything's balanced. That's question 1. Okay. Now, I set this test up to kind of run you through basically exactly how you need to solve the problems. So I got all the little steps in between are already on the test. So I said, number 2, calculate the molar mass of silver nitrate. Okay, so we're going to start with silver nitrate. That's AgNO3. So I have 1 Ag times, what's the mass of silver? 107.868. Plus, I have 1 nitrogen times 14.007. Plus, I have 3 oxygen times, and I multiply all of these together, and what do I get? 169.872 grams per mole. Okay, so that's the answer for that. We're through 2 out of 8. There's actually 9 points, though, because number 4 is worth 2. Number 3, calculate the molar mass of ferric chloride. That's FeCl3. So how many Fe's do I have? 1 Fe times the mass of iron is 0.845. Plus how many Cl's? Times 35.453. Do the math, and what do I get? 162.204 grams per mole. Anyone else get that number? Okay. All right. Next step up. We got to see which reactant is the limiting reactant. So from our equation, which are reactants? Which ones are the reactants? So silver nitrate and ferric chloride. So it's the ones on the left side of the equation. And we go up into our question. It tells me that we started with 25.0 grams of silver nitrate and 45.0 grams of ferric chloride. So those are my two stoichiometry problems I'm going to have to do. It was 25.0 grams of, which one? Silver nitrate. And it was 45.0 grams of ferric chloride. Okay? Now, I know I've got to go to one of my products. Okay. I've got to go to one of my products, but I don't know which one. So I'm going to read on to the test, and it tells me which one I'm going to go to. Number 5 says, what's the maximum number of moles of silver chloride that could be obtained from this mixture? So I'm going to go to moles of silver chloride. Okay, so I know my answer is supposed to be in moles of silver chloride. That means I need to eliminate my units until I get to moles of silver chloride, right? Okay. So right now on the first one, I'm in grams of silver nitrate. I want to get rid of that, so where do I need to put it? Put it on bottom. And what's the other unit that goes with grams? Moles of silver nitrate. Okay. And I need to get rid of moles of silver nitrate so I can just have moles of silver chloride, right? So I go ahead and I put it on the bottom. Okay. What's the coefficient in front of the AgCl? What's the coefficient in front of AgNO3? 3. Okay. And what did we calculate the molar mass of silver nitrate to be? 169.872 grams per mole. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this problem. 25 times 3 is 75. And 3 times 169.872, I can't do in my head. 509.66. 616. Okay. Top divided by bottom. .147 moles silver chloride. Okay, so that's the answer for the first one. Now I've got to finish setting up my second one. I got 45.0 grams of ferric chloride right now. I want my answer to be in moles. That means I got to get rid of this grams of ferric chloride, right? So I put it on bottom. Okay. What unit goes with grams? Moles. And I don't want moles of ferric chloride, so I got to get rid of it, right? Okay, so now I just fill in my coefficients again. There was a 3 in front of the silver chloride. There's a 1 in front of the ferric chloride. And what was the unit on, or I'm sorry, not the unit, but the number for molar mass that we already calculated for ferric chloride? What is it? Should be written down. 162.204. Okay. Multiply straight across on the top. Should get 135. Multiplying straight across on the bottom, you should get 162.204. Top divided by bottom, what do we get? 0.832 moles of silver chloride. Okay, we look at these two numbers. We have to make a comparison. We're determining limiting reactant, so we have to determine which one of our reactants ran out. If we run out of a reactant, we're going to produce a smaller amount. So which one's smaller? The top one. 0.147 is smaller than 0.832, right? And what reactant gave us that 0.147? The silver nitrate. So the answer for this one is silver nitrate. What's great about this, the way we solved it, is we already know what our answer for the next question is. The next question asked how many moles of silver chloride could we produce? So our answer is 0.147 moles of silver chloride. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. Number 6 says, what is the maximum number of grams of silver chloride that can be obtained? So I'm going to start with 0.147 moles of silver chloride. What am I trying to get to? Grams of silver chloride. And what unit goes with grams? What's the molar mass that we already calculated? What's the molar mass of AgCl that we already calculated? Should be writing this down. Multiply straight across on the top. 0.147 times 169.872. Oh, we didn't calculate this one yet, did we? We've got to do molar mass of AgCl. So I've got 1 Ag times what's the mass of Ag? plus I've got 1 Cl times 35.453. What did we get as our molar mass? That's better. Multiply the two numbers together. So 21.1 grams of AgCl, silver chloride. Okay. The next one asks how many grams of the excess reactant will remain after the reaction is over. So we had two reactants. We had silver nitrate and we had ferric chloride. Those are our reactants. We said that the silver nitrate was our limiting reactant, right? The AgNO3 is limiting. That means, since there are only two reactants, if it's not the limiting, it has to be the excess. So we're looking at how many grams of excess reactant, that's ferric chloride, should be our final answer. Now, where I want to start is with our answer from number 5, 0.147 moles of AgCl. The reason I want to start at moles is because if I start at moles, I can go, if I start at moles, I can actually transfer into the other substance in one step. I can use my mole ratio. So on the bottom I'll have moles of AgCl, and on the top I'll have moles of FeCl3. And I just need to get rid of moles of FeCl3, put it on the bottom. And I just have to plug in numbers. So in front of ferric chloride, what coefficient did we have? A 1. In front of silver chloride, what coefficient did we have? 3. And what was our molar mass of ferric chloride? (162.204). Multiply straight across on the top. What was it? Divide that number by 3. $7.947 what? Oh, 7.947. So that's going to be 7.95 grams of FeCl3. And this is how much I used. Okay? That's how much I use. That's not saying how much I have left over, right? So how do I find out how much I have left over? Good. I have to go from what I had, which I started with 45.0 grams at the start. I have to subtract how much I used, which was 7.95 grams. I get what? 37.1 grams of FeCl3 left. Okay? We go down to the last one. The final problem. Calculate the number of formula units of ferric chloride you started the reaction with. So, when we started the reaction, how many grams of ferric chloride did we have? But I don't want my unit answer to be in grams anymore, do I? Nope. So where do I have to put grams? On the bottom. So what do I have to put on top if I put grams? Moles. I don't want my answer to be in moles, though, do I? I put moles on the bottom. What else can go with moles? Other moles. But what am I looking for? Formula units. Those can also go with moles. How many formula units are in 1 mole? Someone named Avogadro told us. .02 times 10 to the 23rd. We already calculated molar mass of ferric chloride, right? 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Formula units. Okay? Ferric chloride's mass was 162.204 grams for 1 mole. Just multiply straight across on the top. .709 times 10 to the 25th. Now divide that by 162.204. And that is the whole test. Any questions?
What was I